Welcome to this sleep episode of my podcast. I will, for the next hour, make it a very silent episode.
And now for a special Trapper John.
Yeah. In this episode, Alex P. Keaton gets hooked on cocaine.
Do you think that had the same impact as when Speedy took cocaine and Green Arrow got mad at him?
Oh, yeah. My ward. I liked how I think he said his young ward or something like that. It's like ridiculous.
You did the marijuana.
I just know that cover was crazy famous.
Yeah, I did buy that issue at a Comic-Con for dirt cheap and then sold it for not dirt cheap.
Ah.
Yeah, I remember that now. A lady was getting rid of her box of comics, and I should have bought the whole entire box. Like, I should have just credit carded it and bought the whole thing because there were some wonderful gems there. But, like an idiot, or I was being responsible. I didn't. But let me do the intro.
Yeah, we're only about 40 minutes in. Yeah, this one makes perfect sense. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. This won't need editing at all.
You're listening to And This Is Why I Love Comics.
Andy and Mike. Andy and Mike.
Oh, mercy.
And welcome to another episode of And This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we're here. Welcome. Just chatting away. We got a book that we're going to describe and talk about today. If this is your first episode, welcome. It's probably not, but if it is, hey, nice to see you. High five.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, we are the podcast of Cantankerous Old Men. We are old friends. We chat about comics and life and friendship, review books. And if you ever want to talk about something specific, let us know and we will chat it away. Maybe we'll invite you on the show. I was just thinking the other day, we need a new voice for an episode, a new guest, and we got to talk to Kevin again too. I got to arrange that too. But welcome to the show. I'm just jibber jabbering away. I've had some coffee and I'm just chatting. I've been reading some comics lately. I know it's a shock.
Comics podcast? You done read something?
Right. I have read, thanks to our friend Matt 10.0, who gave me a stack of these. I'm on issue 6 of The Nice House on the Lake. Have you heard about this?
No, not at all.
It's a wonderful series. I think it's Image by James Tinian and Martinez Bueno.
No.
It's kind of on the same genre as Something Is Killing the Children, as it's a kind of weird horror, non-superhero type book. And I am enjoying it immensely. I've got like 5 or 6 more issues that he plopped into my collection for no reason. Thank you, Matt. So I've been reading that. I also read DC's Zombieverse book called Deceased.
Oh, I am.
DC East.
Aren't we clever?
Right. And that was pretty good too.
Huh.
Some of the art I wish would have been a little better, but the story was actually better than I thought it was going to be. Are you reading any comics lately?
Yes. I went to the shop last weekend, in fact, and picked up some stuff to fill in some gaps, and then got some other things that wasn't anticipating getting, but I picked them up just out of curiosity. So I finished up the Masters in the Universe Forge of Destiny. Extremely limited run from Dark Horse that they only do like 3 or 4 issues and they call it quits. I think it's one of those that's like perpetually on the edge of being canceled. So instead of it going for an ongoing series, they just do these little like 4 issues and then they take a break, and then 3 issues and then they take a break, and then 8 issues and then they take a break. So never ongoing. And I just picked up the new Thundercats. So again, all my 1980s joys have come back in the comic book form.
Nice.
And then I'm actually filling the gaps. And this is the one title that, well, it's because I'm a fan and I am such a completist nerd. I have to do it. I'm only a couple issues short of having the complete run of James Bond Jr. from Marvel Comics. They only made 12 of those issues, so it wasn't that hard to get them, but it's actually hard to find them.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing maybe a couple, but it's been a long time since I've seen any of those.
Yeah, they don't pop up that often. And when they do, I'm prone to picking them up.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if I have anything. I don't have any James Bond Juniors. I do have a James Bond Hammerhead, but that's about it.
Yeah, that was from, I think Dynamite was doing those. I got those as well, but it's again because it's James Bond.
That's the only thing. And I have the original like Mike Grell.
Oh yeah, that. Oh boy,
2-issue or whatever that
yeah,
was.
that was a question mark as far as, didn't it take like, it was 3 issues, but there was
3
like
issues,
a
right?
year or something like that between issues 2 and 3.
Yes. Yep.
I don't know if it was like a Brian Boland Camelot 3000 where it was like, hey, I just went on a vacation and didn't realize that you had one more issue for me, so oops, sorry.
That series was overrated.
That's exceptionally true. I think it was what, Michael W. Barr or something like that wrote it.
Yeah.
And then, but it had Brian Boland, early, young Brian Boland artwork.
Brian Boland, don't speak that name to me.
It will become painfully obvious when you watch the brackets come in.
Yes, traders.
Fantastic cover artist, though. Woo!
Camelot 3000, he collected the entire series a couple years ago, all dollar bins, so $12 of my life. And the beginning was very interesting. And then, yeah, petered out at the end, and I just had the $12, but I did sell it probably for $10. So, I read it for $2 and then sold the whole series again.
I want my $2.
Give me my $2. But yeah, that was one of those where I heard it was wonderful. And the art was don't get me wrong, it was not George Perez, but, it was good. I don't know how we got to this point, but George Perez. George Perez. So the other week, I went to my kids' PTO meeting. I've been going there for a couple times now. I'm known as the jokester, just like on the podcast.
Oh, they had Andy. He's a laugh a minute.
I never know to take him serious. Because I post things on the parent on Facebook because I like to be annoying sometimes. That they don't call me that. I call myself that.
Is that what they voted for you in the senior mock elections or whatever those things were called back in the day?
Yeah, least successful. No, wait.
Most likely to make jokes
that
will
aren't
be
funny.
The embodiment of dad jokes embodied.
They have what is called the father-daughter dance. My daughter, who is 5, is looking forward to that. As am I. I'm not.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Bust out the tux.
Right, get to dress up,
or at least the tuxedo T-shirt.
That's going to be fun, and that's in April. And they said we don't have a theme or anybody to work on the opposite mother-son event. I stupidly asked the question. Now, mind you, the PTO consists of a lot of people online, and then there's like 4 of us in a room. Okay, so
they're perpetually there, but they're not really contributing. They just like to gawk and listen, and just like watching animals in the zoo.
Me and 4 other people, 3 of which have posts in the PTO. Like the king of the PTO. I don't know what they're called. Secretary,
Grand Poobah
are all in there, and I said, well, when is the mother son event. And last year they did a camping kind of thing in the gym, watched movies, which,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. And so I said, when is it? And they said, well, it's sometime in May usually. I said, well, the first week of May, it ends on a Saturday, which is when the event usually is, and that's May the 4th.
Boom, boom, boom.
And they all look at me and go, yeah, May the 4th be with you. That's great. And I said, yeah, Star Wars is awesome. They all looked at each other and then looked at me again and said, sounds like we have a volunteer.
No, you've been voluntold.
And I went, but, and I said, fine, I'll do it.
Yep. And they didn't even offer you like a box of Scooby snacks and to get you motivated and bring you up to courage level.
Not at all. So I'm in charge, which, I mean, if I had to be in charge of something, put me in charge of a Star Wars mother-son event at the school, which sounds amazing. I wish I could go there and just enjoy it.
Now I got the fruits of somebody else's labor.
Exactly. But now I have to figure it all out. I mean, luckily I have creative people like yourself and my wife, and a couple other people have been offering me suggestions, and so I am planning a Star Wars event for, I don't know, 200 kids. I don't know.
So is there going to be any issue with Lucasfilm, seeing as they're bleeding money? Do you think they'll come after you for whatever royalty check they can get out of you?
No, I don't, because I have
You're infringing on our copyright.
I have an authorized garrison coming as well.
Woo!
At least hopefully. They can't tell me for sure until like 2 weeks before, so it'll be last minute.
They don't want to reveal where their rebel base is hidden.
Exactly. And also, I mean, I stupidly did put it on May the 4th, their busiest day.
Yeah, the one day out of the year. Oh, and isn't that like free comic book day as well, the first weekend in May?
Probably. I don't know. If I get a R2-D2, Chewbacca, or Darth Vader, I don't care who else comes. Give me an iconic person that people can get a picture with. I'm set. I don't care.
I'm Bantoon, the guy who was like, you saw his arm in the cantina scene.
Right. I'm third stormtrooper on the left. I heard looks are droids, but I didn't get to say it.
I didn't get to say it. Yeah, I was digitally removed when they put a dewback in instead.
Those dewbacks are rubber. Did you know that?
It was kind of hot out there. That's what I can tell you. Experience.
Yeah, some good ideas. Hopefully they pan out.
One way or the other. It's always a matter of, even if it's a disaster, it's one of those that you can look back at. Yeah, these are the things that went wrong.
Yeah, nothing went right. This is great. No, we're going to have a photo op. We're going to do trivia. We're going to have a Jedi training area, I don't know, like carnival booths, but something like that.
Yeah.
And some finger food, nothing too major. Maybe some stand-up cutout character things for the walls or something.
You're going to serve Bantha Poodoo.
Right, Bantha Poodoo, Wookiee cookies. Oh. And, blue milk, at least in my head, we're going to make something for the doors, like, and they'll open up and then people go into the gym and it's going to be awesome.
Close the blast doors.
Music playing. Disappointed kids, because I teach D&D there, and half the class is always disappointed about something.
That's the current state of the world, I think. So just trickles down to the young people. At one point, they were full of optimism and joy in being in the world. Now
it's garbage. It'll be fun. I had a couple comments already where mothers said, "Oh, well, at least my son will want to go to this one." So,
So when they say mother-son dance,
it's not a dance though.
It's going to be more of an activity venue.
Yeah. Last year, it was earlier this year, because it is daddy-daughter dance. Although they do have to change it because, if you bring your uncle or your grandfather, I think it's more of an event now.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it is
my hip.
right. Oh, but they in the past, I think long ago, they tried a mother-son dance, and the sons like it, did not enjoy it like the daughters did, so they didn't do that anymore. So
Have you looked into getting like one of those like giant bounce obstacle courses and seeing if the mothers could run on one side and the sons on the other and see who finishes it first and who just doesn't make it?
right, yeah.
It's like the droid assembly scene in Attack of the Clones. Well, that's really cool. That's going to be fun. And you got very little time to pull it together.
That's right. That's half the fun.
Let's get the energy levels, and did you ever see a thing? There was like a quasi documentary about a thing called Dash Con. It was like a convention for Tumblr fans. It was like a glorious disaster. They're like, there's going to be a giant ball pit. You'll drown in this ball pit. It was like a kiddie pool with maybe 100 balls in it.
Wasn't there a island concert that bombed
Oh,
totally?
yeah, the Fire
Yeah.
Festival,
So
FYRE.
if I do better than that, I'll be
Yeah,
okay.
but I'm glad that the schools still have those kind of events to kind of have the kids feel like there's some social activities through the school as well. So it's not all about them learnings.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not allowed, or they're not allowed, obviously, to bring blasters in.
No blasters.
Yeah, no blasters. I'll have one of those things at the door that says no blasters.
Yeah,
And we don't serve their kind here.
yeah, droids.
They have to leave. But I did get the okay for lightsabers, so we're good. The principal and I were chatting, and I said, lightsabers? He said, yeah, just don't overdo it. Don't arm all of the kids with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's when you get the balloon artists and they make balloon lightsabers, and that way
Right.
no one's harmed except somebody who's got like a latex allergy, and then I think you have to use some force healing to bring them back around.
Right. I did contact a face painter today. It had been one that had painted my kids' faces many years ago.
And they're still painted to this day.
And
They've never washed.
tattooed.
And permanently stained their face.
And she was excellent. So I wondered if she was still doing it, and she's not. But she gave me a name of another person that does do it. So I'm going to check in with her.
How does one go about retiring from that industry? I mean,
just put the paintbrush down.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
you wonder, it's like, well, we have a pretty aggressive pension plan. We've got a 401k with a matching contribution. We have healthcare. Yeah, it's the Face Painters Guild, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, granted, it's not like the mob where it's like you never leave the mob, but it still
Don't
seems
I know
like
it?
You've been trying. That's why we
paying
do
my
the
dues ever
podcast.
since.
They keep pulling me back in. Once you got into that gig, you just do it until there's like no reason not to do it, I guess, unless something came up and it's like, I lost my hands. They took my thumbs, George.
My diabetes struck again.
Cover me, Norman. Just old. Yeah, I got the Charles Schultz shake. Yeah.
Did you ever do anything PTO?
No, I did take some personal time off for other things, but no, I didn't.
I do the jokes, not around here, not you.
You're the jokester. No, actually, we did do some stuff for my kids. That's where the bounce house thing came in. It was like a Wild West theme. So I drew up some quick like wanted posters and some other things I hung around, like saying like for various activities, and everybody had like little fair type games of like, the beanbag tosses to the pick what cup the thing's under or knock the thing over the cup on a wall, knock it over to see if whatever you revealed. Then you got tickets, and then
find the snake in your boot.
Yeah, somebody's poisoned the water hole. It was fun, and we had done some other ones. We were also part of a talent show. The talent show was a good idea, and I think it ultimately came out okay. But this is where I think you're going to find yourself in come May 5th after it's all over. You look back and go like, it wasn't the best laid plans, but it was. We did a thing, and we're done. But the talent show initially, they were like going, "We want it where you're going to judge the kids as they perform." I'm like going, "Whoa." That's not going to go over well because the moment you judge the kids, then they're going to get all super self-conscious about it.
Right.
So it's like, well, we can do, because American Idol was kind of, The Voice, all that stuff was the rage. So we thought, well, we'll get a guest panel and then we'll have an MC and then we'll judge the MC as if like the MC was also trying to like, oh, see that last act they sang. Well, look I can sing, and we thought that'd be kind of fun. We'll make it that we're judging the MC and not the kids. So that was a way to kind of buy some time between setup from one act to the next act. I thought it'd be fun. And also because I just don't have that kind of attention span. I would change into different personalities more or less. Like I would walk off and then I'd come back and I would be dressed up as somebody else. So I was a grizzled prospector one time. It was basically I went to like Dollar Tree and I got a bunch of mustaches and just stuck them on my face. And
it was really awkward when you came out with the chaps and the hat.
And that was it.
And that was it.
Yeah. Hey, Taylor.
Little cap gun.
Yeah, I got your talent right here.
You didn't do it in the voices of the pod racing guys up on top,
Yeah, those two. Yeah,
Pod De Niro.
A magician's cape and my top hat that I had when I was a kid. Still have them, and so I thought, oh, I'll go as the Amazing Amazo. I was one of the judges.
And have all the powers of the Justice League?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. A little bit of infringement, but yeah. A cybernetic organism. It's one that all the kids really rally around. They know exactly, oh, that's amazing. I know who that. But no, I was like, I had like the big Snidely Whiplash mustache and the top hat and stuff. And I was like, I wanted to do this whole like Doug Henning, voice of like, magic is the power of illusion. And I thought it'd be hilarious. And so I grabbed a handful of glitter and I was going to blow the glitter out to the crowd. Like, poof, look at this magic out of my hand, this glitter. I was so busy talking that I expended all the air from my lungs. And when I went to try to blow the glitter out of my hand, I realized I don't have any air in my lungs. So instead, I inhaled as much air as I could while having the glitter close to my mouth. Needless to say, I wound up with a lung full of glitter that I instantly coughed out. It was like, in magic, it's and I was just coughing glitter everywhere.
Did they ooh and ah because you were coughing glitter?
Yeah, it's like, how did he do that? So I tried to play it off legit, but I was dying. When the newest TikTok trend of blowing glitter out of your lung becomes a thing, you know where it started.
Very true. Speaking of TikTok, I've posted now like 7 or 8 TikToks, and the amount of comments that I've received is one. And
yeah, go to bed, old man.
Yeah, what do you know? I've got a lot of likes. I'm not getting a lot of followers. So if you're listening to this right now, follow me on TikTok. It is, let's see, what is it? It is Why I Love Comics Podcast. That's us.
Yay.
And I've done one with my goofy face on it, talking about the brackets, the best artist brackets. And then I couldn't stop looking at my fat neck, so I decided not to post my face on there after that. So I did I've done 12 of who is the better artist, and I've paired off the two that are paired off in our brackets. And I'm getting a lot of views, that's for sure. So let's hope that generates some listeners. I've gotten a couple, like who was better, Jock or John Byrne, and the person voted for Jock. And after picking certain images and posting them on the TikTok, I do 5 of each and say who's better, So I'm really getting to know these artists on a more personal level. And I think Jock. If I could change my vote now, I would pick Jock.
Yeah, so that's always the trick of it, and that's been one of the major points of contention, I think. That when I was going through them, it's always been like, have they made an impact? They might be exceptionally well talent, like their talent level is without question. But what impact have they had on the industry? Who's had more of a punch than, and so there's been a few where I've had to kind of like, as much as I like this person, I think this person has done more for the industry than, so that's where it's like the burn, I think, has had, it's like, I don't think Jock has come through and did like a Man of Steel impact, like Burn has done. When you think about what are some of the most expensive, X-Men, runs / titles, eras, it was like the Burn era. Where did Wolverine come into his own was during the Burn era.
Yeah, best Alpha Flight era.
Yeah.
John Byrne.
So
best
that's where
Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I keep going back. I thought he had a brilliant, and it wasn't that his was the first to ever do this, but when he broke up Superman, Adventures of Superman, and Action into 3 separate titles that had very unique takes and intent. So it wasn't just, here's another Superman title and another Superman title. I was like, why? But whereas like, his Superman was his Superman. Ordway, kind of did their own thing, which is great because it was like, hey, here's a completely different creative team. So it wasn't just a monopoly. But then when he did Action Comics and basically made it kind of the Brave and the Bold Marvel team ups, where it was like Superman and another character, it gave Action purpose and not just to be another Superman title. And it's like, man, they should have just kept doing that because it would have made it. But I thoroughly enjoyed his run on Superman.
Me too. I mean, I've got the whole run for a long time. I've got a good run on it. And the John Byrne was my favorite just because of the new discovery, just the freshness about it, and knowing that I didn't have to know anything prior. In some ways, I don't like that in current comics, but back then, early 80s, it was the perfect time refresh Superman. And as much as I cut on Crisis and how much it destroyed, I think the Superman reboot, along with the Wonder Woman reboot, was a good choice. Not all their choices were good in it, but it was a good time to do it. I think a lot of the old guys would agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think everything needed kind of a shake up here or there. The downside is that they're constantly feeling that there's a need to shake things up.
Yeah.
And what I think worked in the Silver Age was because there was just such a huge drop off and people were not so super attached to these characters that it's like, no, Barry Allen is the Flash. And it's like, well, there was Jay Garrett back in the day. He was the Flash before that for decades. And it's like, nope, this is a new guy. And it's like, oh, okay, Green Lantern. It's like, oh, yeah, Alan Scott's Green Lantern. Nope, it's now Hal Jordan. It's like, what? But no one was attached to the Golden Age characters anymore. They had all grown up. You moved on to other literature or other things,
Well, they all died in the Cold War.
Yeah. But you look at it, it's like, we're still reading comics that we continue to have read since we were kids. And as a result, we're invested in these characters and they have to be around for generations to come. And it's like, that's where I see it as being a problem. You'll never be able to get a different Wonder Woman. You'll never be able to get a different, Green Lantern, a whole new take on it. Whereas with the Golden Age to the Silver Age, a completely different generation had abandoned the one and a new one picked up with, the Silver Age. And then those people, for the most part, had left. But then now there's the collector. And the collector is like going, well, this is the first appearance of this character. And this is, I've been following that character ever since. And it's very difficult for them to say, like, well, we're going to switch this out without having some sort of major event. And they just have been doing these major events over and over and over again. And it's just to the point where it's like, yep, you can have your best writers of all time. At the time, Marv Wolfman was the best that DC had. Even Grant Morrison tried his hand at making the universes for DC. And
Final Crisis.
Yeah, and that didn't quite work out, because that went away, and they've had rebirths and new 52s and all of it. The new 52 could have worked, but they didn't basically start it all from scratch. They kept the Green Lantern as if it didn't phase the Green Lanterns whatsoever. It didn't phase Batman whatsoever. It didn't phase really anything except for when they all got together. It was like, what? Who are you? And I was like, oh boy. Batman still has 18 Robins, but Batman just started, 2 years ahead before. It's like, how did he train all these Robins? It makes no sense.
He's got a lot of dead Robins on the floor of the Batcave there.
Yeah.
More than we even know,
Yeah, he took over a complete orphanage.
Next.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to show you the Batcave. And just
wink, wink.
Ignore those bodies. I'm just going to slide that one over to the side. Okay. No, do some spinning on this trapeze and we'll see if
Does this fit you? Okay, great.
I'm just going to keep calling you, Tim, and you're going to be Jason. And I don't care what your name is. Your name's going to be Jason now.
Right.
So it's just been like he's just been churning through kids. So it's tough. It's good because they did the Crisis that allowed Superman to get a fresh start. Frank Miller came in and did the year one. Perez came in and did, Wonder Woman. So they all had a good chance to start over again. Ever since they're like, well, we don't want to lose everything we just built up, so we can't. And it's like, because I keep looking at Lex Luthor, and Byrne completely reinvented that character. I like this Luthor. It makes more sense than some dude who's like, you made me lose my hair when I was a teenager, and I'll hate you forever.
I was a teenage scientist.
Yeah. And it's just like, that worked at an era,
Savannah.
but yeah, and power being a different form of power. He wasn't like, I'm in a green and purple suit. It's like, no, my power is that I own corporations that allow me to do whatever I want to do.
Right. Like, I own almost all of Metropolis.
Yeah. Yep. And they owe me,
It's my city.
Yeah, and so that's where it really worked. And I think he did a great job in that regard. I just don't see that they'll ever get back to a point where they can just dump the entirety of what like Jeff Johns had done to the Green Lanterns. It's like, oh yeah, we've got a whole, Skittles of lanterns. You pick your flavor and there's a lantern of that color. So
I just found all my rings the other day. Of my lantern rings, I thought they had been lost, and there they were.
Yeah, and that, again, it was what made Sinestro Sinestro. He was a thing to behold when he had the only yellow ring out there, and it was a complete antithesis to what the Green Lanterns could do, and made him a threat. They took it away from him by making a bunch of yellow lanterns and a bunch of red lanterns that are even worse.
I enjoyed the run of that discovery and finding them and who has all the colored rings, but it did water down the specialness of the original characters. And now it's a complete mess again. And they just, I don't know. What are we talking about today?
A book I recommended. I had read it, but it was during Mark Waid's time with, I believe, Boom Studios. Boiled down to his kind of take on some of the more well-known characters in other comic continuities and doing like, what would happen if? And he did one that was what if Doctor Doom turned into a good guy? And then what would happen if Superman turned into a bad guy? And of those two, we decided to read what would happen if Superman turned into a bad guy, called Irredeemable is the series. And the character's name was Plutonian.
Well, thought out name there. It didn't. If you got to think about your premier Superman archetype, Plutonium's a good name. Plutonian, Irredeemable. Mark Waid, Peter Krause did the art. Oh, and Diego Barreto later on. It was 2009. Wow, we're getting old.
Yeah. Man.
37.
There's too many comics to read to try to catch up on.
One special and 37 issues. How do you pronounce the superhero group? The Irredeemable.
Yeah. Paradigm?
Paradigm. Thanks. That makes total sense to me. Paradigm was hard to say. Everyone.
Yeah. I there was a few where I'm like going, we've reached a point where heroes and heroic teams, most of the easier names have been claimed. Long story short of this whole series is basically the Superman of this universe as, a group of equivalent Justice League team members that he partnered up with. And then one day he just kind of flipped the switch, and instead of helping humanity, decided to say like, well, you know what? Humanity kind of stinks and I don't like them at all. I'm just going to do what I can do to just get rid of every one of them. And kind of did. And kind of quickly. It was good. There was a lot of like, oh, this character is this character. This character is this character. But the twins, they were like, these energy twins. And I kept thinking, is this supposed to be like the Wonder Twins? Is this supposed to be, because they had that like a gestalt power or whatever you want to call it, where they kind of feed off of each other and they need to be in proximity to each other in order to be able to use their powers. And I was like, I don't know if I'm even reading their names correctly, but it was like, no one really uses these names as like, that would be a cool superhero name. It's like, I think it was just because no one used them up to this point, and that was the only thing that's left available. It's kind of like, well, right. It's like trying to get a Gmail account at this point. Is how you're trying to get a superhero name. It's like, yeah, you're going to be Super Fella 115. Nope, that's not
Nightwing 223517.
So it's like, okay, so we're going to have a super genius, kind of a brainiac. He's so smart and his mind is like kind of a computer, so we'll call him Qubit. And it's like, oh, a unit of measure? Okay.
Oh, I thought it was named after the Atari guy, Qbert.
Yeah. The closest you could ever get to swearing in a video game, and we all just laughed it off. But like, there was, the woman who was kind of like a Zatanna type character. They named her Encanta, not Enchantress, not Enchantra, not. It was like, well, we can't use all those letters. Let's cut it down to Encantra. Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I mean, one of the characters was named after your favorite rock group, Survivor.
Oh, boy.
Rising up.
Back on the... Oh, man. I really do not. There's some dark days in music all the way around.
Yeah, I thought of a story we should bring up sometime about going to our friend's cottage, but
yeah, we'll just say it involves Jesse's girl.
Right. We'll save that for a different podcast.
Different time. Yeah, so basically something flips the trigger on Plutonian, and he goes from this very, very Superman-like, I'm here to help everyone, to basically, I'm going to destroy everyone. And then it's left to the equivalent of the Justice League to try to put him down. And it takes 30-something issues to do so?
37, yeah. Is there a reason, like, the main superhero always has to be archetyped as Superman. Like, he can't have a different power set and still be like the most powerful. Like, I'm okay with you can fly and you're super strong and invulnerable, but do you really have to have the visions and the
The
super
super
hearing
cold breath.
and the like? I understand you're playing on the archetype, but really you can't just think of a fire guy, with all these powers. And it's not just Mark Waid, like Sentry has the same kind of powers, and we get it. Superman, let's, it doesn't have to be that archetype to be the most powerful hero, but I know I'm just getting old. Plutonian takes out right away the Batman archetype. I don't know what he was called.
Yeah, right down to having a Jason Todd tribute costume in the cave.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it ends up being like the survivors of the Justice League. I'm sorry, the Paradium. I don't know what they're called.
The
The
paradigm.
the Paradigm,
It's
the
got
the
two
survivors.
dimes. It's got 2 10 cents, 20 cents.
Paradigm, and they are like scattering, trying to figure out what happened because they don't know why he flipped out. They think maybe he's being controlled by his arch villain, and they have these jump bands, which I thought were pretty cool, where they can kind of scatter if he shows up. But he's all powerful, like he is Superman equivalent. So I mean, if he wanted to, I always got the feeling like he could just super speed take him out. But he lets him live, kind of almost like to taunt them a little bit.
Yeah, kind of cat and mouse.
Yeah, give them something to do, make people suffer. He kills their families and everything he knows about them. He uses to his advantage. I did wish they did more with the Batman character. Like, they kill him pretty quick. Paradigm shows up at the quote unquote Batcave and looks for things because he had to have a way to kill this, the main villain, and the whole place blows up and stuff. So if there was anything I wanted more out of this, it was more of the like that kind of thing. Maybe that could have been stretched out a little longer. I ended up reading 3 of the trades.
Wow.
And like I said, I've been reading comics lately. Part of it was I enjoyed the first trade. That was like 8 issues, and
Yep.
I don't know if we're going to talk about all 8 issues, but it seems like I'm going to talk about 3 trades to see where the story went, for one. So, I mean, Mark Waid, congratulations. You got me to get another trade. But I felt as trade 2 and then trade 3 that he kind of lost focus and it kind of went nowhere. And I was a little disappointed in that. I thought, like, he had this great idea. What if the main guy that everyone looks up to goes psycho? And then why does he go psycho? And that's a pretty interesting premise. What I got out of reading it, what he wanted us to get out of reading it, was it didn't just happen overnight. Like, there was a number of things in his childhood, and he was always asked to do more, and he wasn't prepared to handle it. Like, Superman could handle anything, but he wasn't prepared. Like, he just had these powers and was thrown into this greatness, and then society kind of wore him down till he just went, okay, I'm going to slaughter as much as I can of you, just for fun. How do you like this? And that's great. That's what I enjoyed. Not the actual slaughter, but there was a reason he flipped out, and you kind of learn about it. Like, you end up knowing more than the heroes do. You're seeing flashbacks and stuff like that. I wish it had taken a couple different turns.
It's always going to be that way. The first, the setups, the build-ups to get you hooked on it. And then, you got to plant the seeds that are going to make it, last for a while. But then it's like you got to either harvest those seeds or it's just going to rot in the fields. And unfortunately, a lot of times these brought. I keep going back to that TV show Lost, and it's, the first season was like, holy crap, people couldn't stop talking about it. And by season 3, everybody's like, oh my gosh, where are they going to go with this? And then they realize we don't even know where we're going to go with this.
Right.
And then it just fell apart from there. He was like, yep.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah. Game of Thrones, last season, last 2 seasons, stuff after, George R.R. Martin's books ended, or what he had written, I should say, had ended. They all kind of fall apart because they just become bloated and running on, overstaying their welcome. It was a great premise. Honestly, I did read further on when I went through this series, like I said, a few years ago. I did continue to read it, but then I kind of drifted from it and I never completed the series. It was like what you had said. It was like great premise, great, because everybody's curious. It's like, what would happen if Superman did? And I mean, even DC would answer that question of what would happen if Superman went bad? It's like, well, that's called injustice. It's like, yeah, they even did their own version of it. So, I mean, everybody kind of walks into the same kind of, he's such a good guy. How, but he's got all these powers. How is it that he can do this? Because he's going to be, he can't be a good guy all the time. What happens if he doesn't? And while this kind of explains some, like, what could be the thing, it's just also kind of like, well, that was a novelty, kind of a great what if. That's what I loved, the Marvel what ifs. We did those, a few of those now, and they were great little, like, this could have been an alternate storyline. Like, what if Wolverine became a vampire? And it's like, well, here we go. Let's find out. And that was all it needed. It scratches that itch that you have, but this 37 issues and all the other stuff, it's like, yeah. I think, was the other one Incorruptible or something like that? I can't remember what the one, I never read it, but the one that
I think it was called Inconceivable.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
The bad guy turned good, I guess.
Kind of the Dr. Doom, from what I recall, is kind of like his, like, what would happen if Dr. Doom, kind of came around and said, well, maybe I can start helping people. So it was, it's a great series. This thing starts off really solid, and I kind of like wrapping it up at the trade volume 1. I feel almost like, because it ends with it being like, he gets kind of whooped by one of the twins who assumes the entire power levels, and
he levels up.
Yeah, spoilers. It's like, wow, this is great. And I kind of felt like, yep, that was good. Don't need to go any further. He gets whooped, and then that takes him out of the equation. Do I really want to sit down and read more of them? Yeah, there's some twinge here or there. Just, you almost are at this point. It's like, after reading these first 8 issues and knowing that there's a finite end to this thing, you almost kind of go like, okay, and now I'm going to grab the last trade and read the last issue and see what, okay, that's how they resolved it. Perfect. That's all I need to know. Everything else in between is just filler. The art, obviously, as you said, the artist switched partway through this run. It's not amazingly noticeable, but it goes from kind of a very sketchy, artwork to like a lot of detail. So I think all in all, it looks good. The art change was, I think, for the better. How would the villains respond to Superman going bad? Would they join forces with him, or would they see him still as a threat? And they kind of answer that in this series. So I thought that's all.
He wasn't putting up with anything. He was like killing everybody.
Yeah. Now I'm going to ask one question, and I because of it, the popularity of it on Amazon, Omni-Man in Invincible is everybody's hero. He's a Superman, and he also joined the Justice League in the Invincible universe. Partnered with him, and then he winds up killing the entire Justice League in the Invincible.
Oh yeah,
this is episode 1.
Great.
So it's not that big of a secret. It's a secret to everybody else, but as a viewer, you know it. Then you just kind of see how this all kind of comes together, and as people try to sort out what's going on, and Omni-Man still presents himself as a hero throughout this whole thing until he finally has a confrontation with his own son, who finds out what he had done. That's pretty much the same book, in my opinion. It's the
Yeah, I'm pretty close.
Superman hero presents himself as a hero until it turns out he had some sort of other agenda and flips the switch and starts acting upon it. Of the two, now I don't know if you've read Invincible, if you've been that much of a, or if you just watched the show, but of the two, which one do you think handled the Superman going bad better?
Okay, well, I have read probably the first 4 or 5 trades of Invincible.
Oh,
I've seen the first season of the show as well. And by far, we should be reviewing Invincible more than this. But I think it handled it a lot better. There was, I want to say more drama, but there was more drama in Invincible. It was certainly drawn better. But yeah, I enjoyed Invincible a lot. I could talk about Invincible for a long time. I have not read past the 4 trades, and so I don't know how it ends. I know I've sneaked and read like snippets of things that I shouldn't have, so I know kind of what happens later, but not fully. So I would love to talk about that in a later show. But this was just okay to me. I like Mark Waid. I like his writing a lot. I think his DC stuff is in the top 10 writers of DC's ever had. He seems to know what the reader wants, I think, and that's the most important thing for me is he knows what us old timers want because he is an old timer.
yeah.
He tries to write new and exciting things. It always has a touch of nostalgia to it. This had a touch of it. He'd go do flashbacks. So I like the writer. I just don't think this was. This might have been like a brain exercise that he had to get out before he moved on to something else. It probably felt exciting at first, this idea. And then he just kind of went, I'm burned out, or I'm about to burn out. So let's finish this and let me move on to some other things.
Yeah, I was gonna say because if he was writing this one and the Incorruptible, and I think he was doing something other books as well. So it's just there's a point where it's like you're juggling so many things, and something's going to give. It's like you just can't. I go back to the Hobbit phrase of what is it called, like too little butter spread too thinly over too much bread or something like that. I can't remember the exact quote, but it's just spread too thin across what he's trying to accomplish, and whatever lofty goals he was doing, I think it just kind of fell to the wayside as like, oh, I'm in the ruts, I'm in the routines, and I gotta wrap this up. Yeah, I think this would have been a great series if it was done in like 12 issues. It's an entirety. It's like a diamond in the rough. And you got to keep chipping away to get those facets and finding the perfect diamond that's in there. But I think he just left it as the diamond in the rough. Not that it's not good. It was great. Like I said, I enjoyed this first 8 issues. It was page turner. It made you kind of wonder, like you said, like what tripped him, what triggered him, what made him do this. But the shock value kind of wears off pretty quick as you see like the carnage. And it's like, well, what else can he do? I mean, you're already in 8 issues, and it's like, unless he destroys the Earth completely, that's the only thing left. Yeah, the wholesale slaughter of civilizations. I mean, there is a sequence in here where he grabs meteors, throws them into the Earth at such a rate that they basically become a diamond coating over Singapore, and he pushes Singapore into the water, drowning the entire island. And it's like, that's cool as far as a villain action of somebody that powerful can do that. That's kind of cool, but how do you top it? Where do you go from there? It's always that power creep. What do you do next? How do you, and that was one of the things that was always references to, like, I don't know if you remember the Popeye musical movie that was done in the 80s, or was it late 70s? Can't remember. But
Robin Williams?
Yeah. It's like they didn't give him a chance to eat the spinach until the very end of the movie, because that's his one trick. That's what he does. And if he did that at the beginning of the movie or even at the middle of the movie, where do you go from there? That's what he does, is eats the spinach finishes off the villain, and that's it, because it was all like an animated shorts. So in 7 minutes, it made sense for him to do it pretty quick, but you have an hour and a half to kill. So don't let him eat the spinach until the end.
Yeah. Remember when 2 episodes ago when I mentioned Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
Well, you just mentioned Popeye.
Popeye the music. Yeah. So if people want to hop into a time machine and find other archaeological digs that are my memories, crap.
It's very timely.
Yeah. All the kids are still, whether sporting their anchor tattoos on their arms, going, yeah, like Popeye.
Oh,
Seems really relevant. Yeah. Oh, olive oil. Popeye.
Oh, Dawson. Okay. Yeah, it would have been good, like a tight trade of 8, and just like tell your story. Turned evil, rally around the good guys, and how do they defeat him? Maybe, or maybe they don't defeat him, and he just wipes them out.
Yeah, that's the end of that story. So not everything has to be, the heroes win in the end. It was good. Wasn't the greatest. Would you recommend this to anybody? Or would you recommend a portion of it to people? Or would you not recommend it at all?
I think I would recommend. That they read the first trade and then stop.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff in the other 2 trades, but it's not worth the time. Totally. I think Mark Waid has done better, and we should review. I know we did that little book called Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah,
by Mark Waid. But and we enjoyed that immensely. Did I mention that?
Editor's note, a little asterisk.
Yeah, but we should review another excellent series by him. This wasn't one of them. This was okay. In the grade of 1 through 10, I'd call it a solid 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets 5 Rothleys and an Easton slap, but and a yeehaw. One that next year I will have forgotten mostly of what happened, and you'll have to remind me that we did indeed do it for the show.
Yeah. It's no Parker, that's for certain.
It's far from Parker, but it's better than Infinity Gauntlet. Can I say that?
Yeah, by all means. By all means.
Although I like the art of Infinity Gauntlet. George Price.
Yeah, but then Ron Lim.
Hey, now, is Ron Lim even in our best brackets? I don't think he is.
I don't think he made the cut.
Man, we're gonna do another round of artists next year.
Yeah,
just different
find
ones.
the ones that didn't make it this year.
Yeah,
but this was
make it next year.
This bracket was this was a lot of work in this bracket, and there's a lot of tough choices that were made already.
We've gone through all of round 1, so all the artists that we're reviewing and competing against each other are out there.
Yep, 50% are cut.
It will be very hard, or incredibly easy. I mean, it might be like flip a coin kind.
But. Yeah. It's going to go from being like a rational to an emotional choices. It's going to be a gut. Instead of it being like, I see that the contribution this person made in the 70s outweighed what they had done later on, but it's not going to be that. It's just going to be like, dude, I like this stuff. Don't like him anymore.
Favorite story.
Yep.
Right. It's and some of these are hard. Like, how do you say, well, Jack Kirby isn't as good as this person? Yeah. And I could say that because I'm not a huge fan of his art, but I know what he contributed to comics. But a lot of our judges, not a lot, but like maybe half our judges don't realize who Jack Kirby is supposed to be in your comic book eyes. They just are going to judge the art, which is I'm kind of grateful for, because this is the best artist bracket. And how you judge it is your own thoughts,
Yeah, it's very subjective. There isn't a mathematical solution to any of this. It's just like, well, unless it's somebody that you go like, woo, how do you compare a Dick Sprang to a Barry Windsor Smith? And it's like, well, that's pretty straightforward. But then it gets really tough when you're like, these two are nigh comparable, and you're like I would, not that this was one of them, but like if it ever got to like let's say a Jim Lee and a Neil Adams, and you're like, well, they both have made strong impact. Some, but if you read Batman Odyssey, that pretty much took out any respect you had for Neil Adams right out the window.
Yeah.
But then you look at what's happened at DC, and you can go, well, that takes Jim Lee right out of the equation.
If you have ideas about this artist bracket, you want to put in your vote, please let us know. We are at, and this is why I love comics at gmail.com. Our webpage is in This Is Why I Love Comics podcast.buzzsprout.com. You can join us on the X or the Twitter, same thing, at And This Is Why I L1. We're on the Facebook, look us up, and This Is Why I Love Comics podcast. We're on the TikTok at whatever I said earlier.
Why I Love Comics.
Why I Love Comics podcast. Please join us there and make your comments. You can support the show, become a Patreon member, hear some audio stuff that didn't make it into the regular episode, and also some exclusive stuff that will be down there shortly. Thanks to all our supporters and friends of the show. Thanks to producer Tony, co-host Matt 2.0, Kevin, Jamie, and Matt 10.0. Thanks to the judges on the artist brackets. This has been a lot of fun, and we're not done yet. Thanks to Thunder Chicken for the tunes. Check them out on Spotify. That link is in the show notes for the podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike. Good listening. Thanks for doing all that. You've been doing the heavy lifting by just listening to us yammer.
Talk to me, kiss me, show me.
There's plenty out there. I'm just trying to think of something that's like, strikes my fancy.